It is exactly 10 minutes past 3 p.m. right here on A Farmers Media, where we are always about one thing only, telling the story of the African farmer. This is the Drive Show with me, Conrad Kibe. I'll be taking you through all the way to 5 in the p.m. But I don't know how your day has been. Probably you've been having a good day, but one thing I'm certain about is that we are not doing well when it comes to the numbers regarding COVID-19. Yesterday we hit the highest positive rate, that is 22.1%, having received or getting 1,130 positive cases out of the sample size of 5,119 in the last 24 hours. We are not doing well when it comes to COVID numbers. By the same time, we have yesterday we received 12 fatalities. Those are the people that succumbed to COVID-19. And at the same time, we had 754 recoveries. And from these recoveries, we have 708 who are from home-based program and 46 from various hospitals across the country. And coming to total numbers of every case, we have the positive cases right now. As you can see from the screen, that is the number of the positive cases, the total number of positive cases we have currently in the country. And talking about the recoveries, we have 90,376. And those are not numbers that really for the recoveries, that's some good news. But for the fatalities that we've had since March last year, we are currently standing at 2,023 deaths right now. And those are not numbers that if anyone out there would wish to see, not anyone out there would want to be part of this. So please, the guidelines that we have always been telling you here, please wear your mask, maintain social distance, and most importantly, just use a sanitizer. If you're coming from the comfort of your house, just use a sanitizer. Yes, so as my director will play the updates to get the numbers on your screen right now, so that I can also update you on the worldwide numbers that we've been having, or that has been received across the world. And yes, those are the numbers that we are having across the country. But just to go to the worldwide, we are standing at 124 million 338,690 positive cases as from last year March. And for the deaths, we are currently standing at 2.7 million deaths. And for recoveries, we are at 100 100,325,116 recoveries. So those are numbers that are shooting high. Remember, we are still on the third wave right here in Kenya. So please, wherever you are, just protect yourself. And as we always say, you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting the people around you, the people you care about. And because right now, we are not just having the numbers, 1,130 are not just numbers. Yesterday, from social media or from the news, you could see people, not just the numbers. They are people that we know. They're people close to us. We're not just mourning or just getting the briefings from the cabinet secretary. Now we are getting news from people that we love, people close to us, or friends, families. So just keep safe. Remember to wear your mask, sanitize, and keep social distance. And just talking about COVID, there is some news I would want to share with you, that over close to 1.1 million students or pupils kickstarted their exam yesterday, that is KCPE. So for the parents out there, don't worry so much, because the government has ensured all protocols are observed when it comes to controlling and making sure that the exams are running smoothly. So they are in the second day. And I'm currently being told that exams will end come on Thursday, and the last paper will be social studies. So we wish every student out there the very best as you continue the exams. And remember, yote yatakuwa sawa. It's just 3 days and you'll be done. But for the parents, it's good to tell you that the government, all the schools are maintaining all these protocols that are supposed to be maintained regarding the COVID-19 cases. And just to remind you from the Ministry of Agriculture, I'll reiterate again today, if you are a tea farmer out there, remember to check the dates for the tea factories meetings, annual general meetings. So just get to their website, get to all social media platforms of Ministry of Agriculture. You'll get the dates of where you come from, whether the county, whether the tea factories. Just remember the dates are there where you'll get to choose your leaders, you'll get to have your annual general meeting. So be part of it. If you're a tea farmer around the country, be part of this conversation, be part of the general meeting so that you can elect the leaders of your board who will represent anything regarding tea farming in the country. And now to some great news. Yesterday we started a conversation about agribusiness, and I told you that the whole of this week will be focusing on various ideas that we talked about yesterday. And for today, uh, it's a very interesting agribusiness that we are going to be talking about today, and that is Haas avocado farming. And avocado for the better part of the few years that we've been for the last few years, avocado has been growing in terms of numbers, in terms of farming. And just to give you the origin of Haas avocado farming, because avocados have various types, but today we are going to be discussing about Haas avocado farming. And it has been there and can be dated back to 500 BC, that is before Christ. And it can be dated to Central America or Mexico or Mexico, however much you feel to call it. It's either Mexico, Mexico, venye tu feel. So Central America and Mexico can be dated back to those places. And this can be this is this we can give credit to Rudolf Haas, who grafted variety of roots stock way back in 1924. And grafting is a process of ensuring desired fruits continue to grow and on existing tree variety. So we can date back, first we date back the Haas avocado farming all the way back to 500 BC. And then now when it comes to now the growing of Haas avocado farming, the seedlings can be dated back all the way to 1924 by Rudolf Haas, who grafted this variety of root stocks. And that when you talk about the root stocks, we're talking about the Haas avocado farming as an example. So for him, he was in existence, or he was able to steer this grafting for around a period of 76, 78 years until 2002. And from there, the single Hass avocado tree became the origin of Hass avocado fruit that is there today. And for today, we have approximately 10 million Hass avocado trees worldwide. And from the 10 million avocado trees we have worldwide, 40% of the 10 million can be is actually in Mexico. 40% of the 10 million Hass avocado trees we have globally is in Mexico. And with that, goes without saying that Mexico is the largest producer of these fruits, with about 45% of the total production worldwide coming from Mexico. So Mexico uh, is currently giving the market 45% of its Hass avocado into the market. So right now, 45% of the avocado that we have in the market globally comes from Mexico. And the other countries that also grow Hass avocado, we have Peru, Dominican Republic, Chile, Colombia, and Indonesia. But when you come now regionally, remember yesterday we were talking about getting your target audience. Now we are from globally. We have seen the largest producers are Mexico. Now when you come regionally and we draw down to Africa, Kenya is the largest producer of this fruit with close to around 51,000 tons being produced every year, and it's followed closely by South Africa and Morocco. So as a Kenyan, we are not really bad placed when it comes to producing and has avocado worldwide and also regionally. So that is some few. That's a very important information that I had to say before we start on how we plant this Haas avocado, because there's a process. And I've told you in the last, maybe we can date back to 5 years or so, this farming has grown. We have seen people cut down their cash crops to grow Haas farming, especially in central Kenya. We have seen people try, and start it from afresh. But yesterday, when we were just highlighting Haas avocado, I told you this is uh, agribusiness that needs a lot of patience. Because if you don't exercise patience, then I don't think you'll have one of the best production when it comes. Because you just it's good to note that Haas avocado farming is the harvest is thrice a year. It's done after every 4 months. So it's good to note that if you don't have the patience to wait for your returns, then might not go well or go well with you. And just to start how it grows, one of the requirements that you need to understand before you start this agribusiness. Remember yesterday the first key element we talked about, or the first step we talked about for you to succeed in agribusiness, it's all about doing your research. You must do your research, whether the market, anything that is required for you to practice that agribusiness, you have to do your research. And the first requirement that that is good or important to note, that a Hass avocado does well in altitudes of 1,000 to 2,000 millimeters. So if you're not in that area or that position, then I don't think it's good for you to start a Hass avocado farming. Secondly, for you to get bigger Hass, or you know bigger Hass avocados, they only grow in cool areas compared to the warm, or compared to the warm areas. And definitely the optimum temperature that is required for good Hass avocado farming is for a temperature that ranges from 20 to 24. Those are some of the ecological requirements that you need to note, that you need to understand, that one, the altitude that is required for Hass avocado farming is ranging from 1,000 to 2,000 millimeters. And definitely for you to get bigger yields, bigger bigger avocados in terms of size, you need to grow them in cooler places compared to warm places. And definitely the temperature to use is ranging from 20 to 24. So those are some of the ecological requirements that you need to note. Going to the second point is it's all about growing, you know and now you've realized, or you've done your research, and you've understood the ecological requirements that are needed for Hass avocado to do well. You've realized this is the millimeters that I need to be around this region. I need to be around this locality. I need this kind of temperature. And also for me, everyone wants bigger yields. Bigger yields. Everyone wants bigger yields. Everyone wants bigger sizes of the produce. So you've already understood the locality that need to the best locality for this Hass avocado to do well. So secondly, now you need to go to do the practicality of the growing now. And Hass avocado is just like you know any other crop, regardless of it being a fruit. It's similar to any other crop. Ensure But the first thing that you need to ensure is that you have windbreakers. And the best windbreaker for Hass avocado farming is the hedges. What kind of hedges do you have at home? So ensure that you have the windbreakers, so that to prevent uh, the small seedlings, or your produce to to be thrown out, to be from just the strong winds that will be blowing around your area or around your farm. So that's the first thing you need to understand, that this is just like any other crop that you grow at home. So there's nothing actually out of the ordinary that you've done, because you ensure every crop that you grow, make sure you have the wind. It's a windbreaker. So that's the first thing. Second thing that you need to understand is you've already done the windbreaking thing. You've already established the hedges. That's the best windbreaker. Now, second thing that you need to understand is planting of the holes now. And the best way to plant these holes is in a straight line. And as you're doing it in a straight line, this is just to ease the crop husbandry, and also it's good. It's actually easiest on when it comes to harvesting. So when you're planting these holes in a straight line, make sure it's in a rectangular pattern. All right, you've done it in a straight line. Now it's time for you to do it in a straight line. And remember, a rectangle, all opposite sides are very equal. So that's one thing you need to understand. You've done it in a straight line. Now it's time for you to do all this. Now the planting of the holes in a rectangular pattern. Whichever pattern that you have, as you're doing it in a straight line, doesn't matter the number of acres that you have. You just do it in a straight line, and also ensure that the pattern is rectangular. This is to easier the pruning, when it comes to pruning, when it comes to thinning, and also inspection. So the first thing you need to note is that you have done what is necessary when it comes to growing or planting of the seedlings. It's just similar to any other crop. So you have followed the guidelines of windbreakers. Now the second thing, planting the holes. And planting the holes, one you need to note, very, very important, do it in a straight line. The second thing, as you are doing it in a straight line, remember to follow a regular pattern. And the importance of doing that, of planting holes in a straight line, as I have said, is to ease on crop husbandry, and also when it comes to harvesting. But for the rectangular pattern, definitely it's all about it will become easier for you when you're using the machines, when you get to the farm, and also when it comes to pruning, thinning, and inspection. So those are two things that you need to note when you invest in this kind of agribusiness, that is Haas avocado farming. The third thing now comes now, that's when you start the real deal. Remember, now you're already done with the windbreakers, that is the hedges. You've already done the planting of the holes. Now it's planting of the seeds or the seedlings. Now that's when now you do practically you plant. This is when now you do the planting of the seedlings. And the best time, just to note, or this is very important to note, that the best time to plant these seedlings is immediately after the rains. And I'll tell you why. Because at that moment when the rains are done, the water has already penetrated into the soil. Because one thing that is very important to note, that um, you don't irrigate the seedlings before 1 year. You irrigate the seedlings after 1 year. So the first thing you need to note is that anytime you're starting to plant, you need to time immediately, just immediately after the rains. That's when you plant the seedlings, because the water is already penetrated. So it's good to follow some of these very, very important guidelines. And another thing, as you're planting, be careful not to damage the roots while you're filling up the holes. Because now remember, we have already done our holes, right? So when you are planting the seedlings, be careful not to damage the roots. Because now when you damage the roots, you've already almost close to damaging the whole produce. So time when the rains just immediately have the rains have already ended. Three, be very careful when you planting, or you're filling up the holes. Remember not to damage the roots. And thirdly, the most important thing to note is irrigation is done after 1 year. It's not really bad to do it, but you've done when the rains are already, the water has already penetrated into the soil. So really technically it's not advisable to irrigate before 1 year. So it's good to irrigate either around probably around 10 to 12 months after the 12th month. Now you can start irrigating your seedlings. The other thing, the key thing to note is pruning. Now you've given your your seedling around a period of 1 year. That's 12 months. It's doing very well. From there, now you've started, has already started to come above ground. It's growing, it's becoming bigger and bigger. At that point, it's very important to note that it's good to prune, because if the roots are too long at the planting stage, it's beneficial to the trees as it enables them to yield and provide a superior structure. So as you're doing the pruning, remember you're not just doing it for the sake, because now the roots are very are too long at this stage. So you need to do some pruning so that you can get the best yields. And remember, there are so many guidelines that are supposed to be followed, especially now when you talked about getting to know your target audience, as we were getting to know the steps of getting to understand what agribusiness you want to venture into. We talked about getting to know where you want to where you want your produce to go, either locally, nationally, regionally. Now, for those who want to do the exports, these are some of the very important issues or important steps you need to follow, because they are very strict on what kind of produce you bring into the market, on what kind of pesticides you used, and all those things, and how you did it. Did you follow all the steps that are required for you to get the best produce? So when you still at pruning, and remember, for you to get for you to be to have an easy time when pruning, we said a very very important thing that you need. Okay, you need when it comes to planting of the holes, you need to do it in a regular pattern. Now you understand the importance of doing the regular pattern, because you'll have now to come to the pruning and the thinning stage, and that's where we are getting into the thinning stage. This is removing some of the already formed fruits to reduce competition for nutrients, thus reducing the quality or the high quality. If you don't do that, then you reduce the high quality of some of the produce that you have. So at this point, now get to your shamba, right? Remove some of the already formed fruits to reduce competition for nutrients. You know, every Haas avocado needs to grow by itself, have the best nutrients. So if you don't do the thinning, then there'll be a competition of the nutrients. One is growing on top of the other, they are growing together, so they'll be competing for nutrients. And with that competition, then you'll be reducing the high quality that you could have reduced, as opposed to when you could have pruned this produce. So remember, thinning is a very important step that you don't need to pass. So you need to do this stage. It's very important to do the pruning, because of the roots, they have grown so long. And at the same time, you need to do the thinning, because now it's good to remove some of the already formed fruits to reduce the competition for nutrients, as I said. That's reducing the high quality that would have been there, opposed to you thinning uh, the produce. And actually, it's good to note that lack of thinning can actually lead to produce of small sized fruits. And remember, when we started, when you're doing your research, you realized the location that is best for Haas avocado farming is in an altitude of 1000 to 2000 millimeters. And at the same time, if you want bigger yields and bigger size, big size of this fruit, you need to follow. You need to be in that location where also the temperature is 20 to 24. So you're in this location where you followed all these guidelines. The rain is okay. The temperature is okay, and you are very sure you can get bigger yields. But then at the same time, you're not following the guidelines of thinning. then that's where you fail. That's where you go wrong. So you need to understand that lack of thinning can actually lead to produce or production of small sized fruits. And now you're talking you being an exporter of Haas avocado that is doing very well globally in the market. And now you there taking your produce to the airport and it's very small. It's not really doing well. You understand? So you need to get to do all these things. You need to follow the guidelines like any other crop when starting or when growing. You need to plant the holes. They need to be in a straight line and the pattern needs to be regular. At the same time, now you need to start planting. And I've told you the right time to start planting is when the rains have already settled, you know, immediately after the start of the rains. That's when you need to start the planting. And they have given the reasons being the water has already penetrated in the soil. So as you're doing this, you need to follow some guidelines. You need to be careful not to damage the roots as you're filling up the holes. So if you don't follow all these steps, and remember, yesterday we talked about the steps to follow when you start in the agribusiness. This is an idea that you can take up when you want to venture into agribusiness. So you've already had your creative or business plan. So you know what kind of yield will come at the end of probably the year. You know this is the amount of money that I'll get towards the year in terms of yields. So you already have your plan. That is on paper. But if you don't follow the practical part of it, then you'll be a very disappointed farmer at the end of the day or at the end of the year or when you're going to harvest. Because now you've not followed, you've not pruned, you've not followed the process of thinning. At the end, you are for example, you are in a 14-acre piece of land and probably you've planted 2,800 seedlings or trees for Haas avocado. So the yield is supposed to be big because you've already done your business plan. So you know what kind of money you'll have at the end of the day, at the end of the year, and probably that's where you know you'll get your money from. That's the source of your income. That's your salary. But then you want to be a lazy farmer. You don't want to follow these guidelines. You don't want to do the pruning. You don't want to do the thinning. Then at the end of the day, you'll not get the best yields. You'll not get the best quality because the fruits are growing on top of the other. They are growing together. They are competing for nutrients. So we need to be very careful even as we venture into such types of agribusiness. But I know you're a good farmer. You are a creative one. You're someone who follows instructions because you've done your market research, so you know what is needed. You already understand that this is the altitude. These are the ecological requirements that I need to grow Haas avocado, to actually venture into Haas avocado farming. And the other one, definitely, you know, if you're planting or you're having this kind of farming in the traditional farm or the field farm, you are prone to weeds. And so, to reduce competition for both water and nutrients, you need to control the weeds because we know what weeds can do to our plants in a very short time. So you need to reduce the competition for both the water and nutrients, and also for you to do the weed control, you can cover the cropping and mechanical cultivation. So that's a very important step also to follow, the weed control. Because if you don't control the weeds that will be coming on your farm, then the weeds will be competing for water and nutrients together with the Haas avocado that you're having. So you also need to be a very keen a farmer out there because I know you'll want to venture into Haas avocado farming because it's a very lucrative agribusiness. So, but at the same time, for you to get the yields that you will deserve, or the yields that you have set on your business plan, then some of these rules must you have to follow them. So before we take a break, remember, you need to follow some of these guidelines, very important guidelines. Just like any other crop that you grow out there, ensure they are windbreakers. And the best ones, as I said, for Haas avocado farming is all about the hedges. The hedge that you have at home will actually help you. Secondly, planting holes. At the same time, we said you plant your holes in a straight line, and the pattern you follow is a regular pattern. At the same time, we're talking about planting. Or thirdly, we talked about planting, and this is where you just time after the start of the rain, because at that time, the reason we are saying this is the best time, the water will have penetrated into the soil. The fourth point was pruning. The fifth one was thinning. And now, before we take a break, we talked about before we just take a break, we conclude on the weed control. So you have to control your weeds, because if you don't do that, then they'll be competing for both water and nutrients. So when you come back, we'll be talking about some of the other steps that you need to follow when you come in, or when you're venturing into agribusiness, that will be helpful for you as a farmer who has ventured into agribusiness. We take a short break. We'll be right back.
Beetroot is a highly nutritious root vegetable. The beetroot is the top proportion of a beet plant. It is one of the many varieties of the genus Beta vulgaris, all of which are mostly grown for their edible taproots and leaves. Beetroot is a root crop that takes approximately 3 to 4 months to mature. Beetroot is a fairly easy crop to grow as long as the soil is well cultivated prior to planting. Beetroots do not enjoy wet, boggy or shady soils. Beetroot can be sown in trays and transplanted when the seedlings have 2 true leaves. Plant in full sun, space seedlings 10 to 15 centimeters apart, and rows 20 centimeters to 30 centimeters apart so they have room to grow. Beetroots are also ideal for containers or raised beds. Beetroots will happily thrive in small areas as long as there's at least 20 centimeters depth of soil. Beetroot has been used not only for food but also for treatment for numerous conditions. Celery is a marshland plant that comes from the same family as carrots and parsley. It has long, firm and pale green fibrous stalks and grows in bunches of approximately 8 to 10 centimeters. The stalks taper into leaves at the top. When planting celery, it's best to ensure that the soil is enriched with compost and with a soil pH of between 5.8 to 6.8. It is also important for celery to grow in moisture-retentive soil. Lastly but not the least, select a site that receives full and direct sunlight. Celery needs about 130 to 140 days to mature between seedling and harvest. Growing celery is generally considered to be an ultimate vegetable gardening challenge. It's easy to grow but has very specific needs.
One of the most important activities on our farms is scouting. Why is it important? Because you get to know what is affecting your crops on a daily basis. Join me, Noah Nasiali Kadima, every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m., where we guide you to attain knowledge and grow profits.
Are you a farmer facing challenges in your farm? Pests, diseases, or even unsatisfactory produce? Worry no more. The solution is here. Join us every Tuesday on Diagnostic Tuesday, where we talk about various issues affecting agriculture and interacting with experts with knowledge in different sectors of agriculture to provide you with appropriate solutions, giving hope to farmers to attain better yields, to achieve financial success and development. Our farmers attain knowledge and grow profits.
Welcome back to A Farmers Media, where we're always about one thing only, telling the story of the African farmer. And this is the Drive Show with me, Conrad Kibe. I'll be taking you through from 3 p.m. I've been taking you through from 3 p.m. And right now it's like 10 minutes to 4 p.m. But we still have time to continue with our discussion all about Haas avocado. But remember, even as we are discussing about Haas avocado, it's good to take care of yourself, it's good to take care of your health and those of the loved one and the people around you. And this we are talking about due to COVID-19. And WHO has been setting guidelines since the pandemic started last year, and they have been always reiterating about three things only: wearing your mask, keep social distance, and always use a sanitizer. If you don't have a sanitizer, probably you can wash your hands thorough. Limit the for a maximum or a minimum of 2 minutes as you wash your hands thorough. But if you're not near a source of water and soap, you can probably use sanitizer. So make sure wherever you are, you're wearing a mask when you get out of your home, when you're near people, because we need to interact every day, and we need to run the economy. People need to eat, people need to get their daily bread. So when you're interacting with people during the day, uh, make sure you maintain your social distance. And you're talking about 1 to 2 meters. Ensure you've maintained that social distance. Ensure whenever you're using the public service vehicles, the social distance is there. Don't be part of the ignorant Kenyans that you know are there right now. And remember, the numbers are shooting high. Yesterday, we had a rise of 22.1% in terms of positive cases being reported, and WHO had said the containment rate should be less than 5%. So right now, we are looking at 4 times the containment rate, 4 times higher the containment rate that was given by World Health Organization. So we are not doing really well in terms of containing this virus. So we need to be very careful with how we do our things, with how we do our everyday activities, with how we interact with each other, with how we actually uh, take care of ourselves, especially personal hygiene. So it's about sanitizing, wearing your mask, and not just a mask, a clean mask. If you're using a rewashable mask, ensure you wash it at least every day. And if you're using a surgical mask, ensure you don't repeat the same surgical mask come the next day. So those are some of the guidelines that can be used. And when you do all that, we maintain all that, and we observe all that, we shall be protecting the people around us. We shall be protecting the people we love, the elderly, the young, and also ourselves included. So let's follow those observations. Let's follow the protocols. Even the people, as I said, that the parents that are worried about their students or their pupils doing the Kenya National Examination, Kenya National Examinations, because KCSE is also underway. Don't panic. Everything is under the control. All the schools are following these protocols. So be sure wherever you are at home, don't just worry about your kids, even you, because they'll be coming in a few days. Also keep those guidelines at home, so that when they come home, they'll just follow the guidelines that they are used to in school. So that's what we have, as we'll continue reiterating every time we get back to the show. And as we're talking about talking to you, you're also talking to us. And we asked you, uh, if you are a Haas avocado farmer, share with us your experience. You can also comment on our Facebook live stream, that is A Farmers with a Z at the end. Let's get to hear what are some of the experiences. Maybe you are first time um, farmer and you never got a chance to listen or understand how this farming is done, and you got your losses, you got the else, and you went home. Or probably you had some Wakenya somewhere, someone alikuibia siri akakwambia ambavyo kunafanywa, and right now you're doing so well. Or probably you want to start, or maybe you're in the process of starting. So share some of those experiences on Facebook page, that is A Farmers, and I shall gladly read them before we take the next break. So before we took the others break, we are talking about the steps on how to, or on what to follow, so that you can get the best produce when it comes to Haas avocado farming. And we talked about this farming is similar to any other crop out there that you plant. And so basically you need to get your windbreakers right. And for this case, point in scenario, we talked about the windbreakers being the hedges that we have around the home. Remember, this is a young seedling. It's a young plant, so it needs all the protection it needs from the strong winds that will be blowing across your land or your farm. And secondly, we talked about planting holes. And in planting holes, we talked about the holes being in a straight line, and not just a straight line. That straight line, you need to follow a particular pattern, and the pattern needs to be regular. All right. So if you're out there wondering what kind of shape is this, it's a regular a rectangle, sorry, not a regular but a rectangle pattern. A rectangle pattern is where opposite sides are equal. So for you, as you're doing maybe 2.5 feet of a digger or planting these holes, make sure you follow these guidelines. And you have said the rectangular pattern will help you when it comes to the process of pruning, thinning, and also inspection. And when you want to use your machinery, also this maintaining rectangular pattern will help you when you're using your machineries or whenever you visit your farm. And so planting straight will just also, or in a straight line, will also help you when it comes to crop husbandry, and also when it comes to the end of the day or the end of the harvest. So when you're harvesting and you've planted in a very straight line, that will be very easy for you to do the harvesting and also some crop husbandry. After that, we say now we come to the process of planting, the planting of these seedlings. So the best time we have said is when during the starts of the rain. That's when the water has already uh, penetrated into the soil. So as you're doing this, be very careful not to damage the roots, because now the roots are everywhere, and you are planting into the holes that you had planted a while back, maybe before the rains. And so when you're doing this, you're in the process of filling up the holes with the seedlings. So make sure as you're doing, or you're in that process, make sure you don't damage the roots. And because that will be very easy for you, the water has already penetrated into the soil. You don't really need to irrigate immediately. You probably wait for 1 year and you'll be good to go. You'll be at a very good point of life as you're doing the irrigation. So you don't really necessarily need to do it before 12 months. You can give it 12 months, and after that, the water that has penetrated will have done its job. So from there, now you can slowly get to your farm and irrigate your your plant. And then from there, we also talked about pruning. Pruning is very key. Remember, now you've done your planting, or you've planted the holes in a rectangular way. So it's easier for you to go and do this process of pruning, where the roots are very long at this point. So you need to go cut them, and it's very beneficial as it enables the trees to yield and provide a superior structure. The structure is very firm, very superior. And now, if if at all the roots are very okay, and maybe you have not done in a very in you have not followed the rectangular pattern, it will be very hard for you to even do this process of pruning. So from pruning, now you go to the thinning, and this is the removal of some of the already formed fruits. And because if they are formed together, they reduce uh, they actually competing for nutrients, so they reduce the high quality that could have been yielded at the end of the harvest, or at the end of the set time, maybe after 1 year. That's when you're doing the first harvest, or maybe after 4 months. But since you are a first timer, now you need to wait for a little bit before you get your harvest. So this is the first time you're doing your harvest, and you've not followed the process, or you've not ensured that you've done thinning. So you'll get there, you'll get very small sizes of avocado. You'll get those avocados don't have high quality, they are not of high quality, and they have no nutrients because they have been competing for nutrients. So you'll be taking your L already, and you'll not be at a very good position, because with the COVID-19 that you have and the economy that we are in today, taking else is the last thing any farmer will want. Having losses, having to do, having losses, not just in the market, but in the very, very first stage. You have not even done your harvest, but you're already taking the else. So when you've done that, remember, when you have not done the thinning, or the lack of thinning can actually lead to production of small sized fruits, as you say. So make sure you follow these steps to the latter. They are very important if you want to get a very big harvest. And remember the requirements we talked about. I'll keep on repeating, because we have people who have not done their research well enough, or probably they're in a place that they don't know the altitude that they are in, or the temperature that they operate within. Probably you don't know that, but you need to do your research. You need to be in a point where, or in a position, in a location where the altitude is from 1000 to 2000 millimeters in terms of the rain, and also be in a location where the temperature is ranging from 20 to 24. And for you, the advantage of being in these positions or these locations, for you, you get bigger yields. You are able to get bigger sizes in terms of the avocado, the fruit, and the bigger yields. And now you can imagine you've grown your avocados in probably 10, 14 acres land, and you've planted close to 3,000 seedlings or trees. You can imagine the yield that you'll be having. And this is something that you've done in the business plan that we talked about yesterday, in the steps that you need to follow when you're coming up with any agribusiness. So you're at a good position right now. You've already done you've already ensured you're in a very good position. The three ecological requirements, you've already followed them. You have already followed the most important step, that is just knowing where to get you've already done. You're already done with the windbreaker. You've already planted your holes. You've already started the business or the practicality of planting now the trees, and you've timed when the rains have started. When doing the planting of the trees, you have ensured that they have not damaged the roots. And while at it, you have avoided irrigating before 1 year. You have pruned, you have done the thinning process, and now you've given it time. There's nothing else more to do when you've done the pruning and the thinning. Now the work is a bit reducing, but that doesn't mean you sleep on the job, because now you're in a field farm, so you're prone to weeds. So before we went on a break, we talked about weed control. So you need to control, because if you don't control these weeds, they will reduce the competition. They will bring the competition on both water and nutrients together, on the trees that you've planted, or the fruits that you've planted. So you need to control the weeds. The other thing is, when we have weeds, we are also prone to pests and diseases. And if you are a lazy farmer, you don't go check on your plants. You just there waiting for the yields, or waiting for the plants just to grow and get your harvest, because you're thinking, now I'm in a good location. I'm receiving rain. I followed all these steps that are supposed to be followed. The temperatures are favorable and all these things, but um, you're not aware of the pests and diseases that ca- can come into your produce. So the best way to control is pest prevention. That's the best way to control pests and diseases, is pest prevention. But also, some of these pest prevention or pesticides may include uh, night flying moth, scale insects, and thrips. These are some of the examples of pesticides that you can use when it comes to Haas avocado farming. So you have done all that. Now you just sit down and wait for your harvest. Wait for the time, because you talked about patience. Patience being a very, very important uh, virtue or value when it comes to Haas avocado farming. You need to be very patient with the seedlings. You need to be very patient with the produce for you to get the best produce. You talked about your target audience. For example, now you are into exporting. You want to export all these avocados you've been working on, because you have in your business plan, or in theory on paper, you have this big goal. You have to follow all these steps. You have to follow the ecological requirements. What kind of rain do you receive? What is the favorable kind of rain that should be received in the best place to receive this kind of rain? You've talked about 1000 to 2000 millimeters. If you're not in that position, then well, don't even start a Haas avocado farming. Two, talked about when you in this area where it's receiving favorable rainfall, high chances are the yields will be very big. The seeds or the produce will be big in terms of the size of the fruit. Third thing, now you're very sure about the two of them. Ensure now the temperatures are favorable, 20 to 24. All right. From there now, that's the first part. This is in according to yesterday. We talked about the steps to follow. This is part or just one idea of agribusiness. Remember, if this is not, favorable from where you are and you cannot move from one place to another, or maybe that's the only point you have. There's so many ideas that you can tackle. But today, you're tackling Haas avocado farm. It's not for everyone, but there's something that you cannot lack. There are so many ideas of agribusiness that we are going to be talking about through this week. So maybe if this is not favorable and you have the information, you'll find you have a friend out there who is in these favorable locations where they are receiving favorable rainfall, favorable temperatures, and they are assured of bigger yields. You can help someone. You can help someone, or probably now you can tell them to actually join our live at farmers with a Z at the end on our Facebook stream, or maybe our YouTube stream, that is a farmers media. Let them get information firsthand, so you don't have to sit there and say, now I'm not in a position where I can grow Haas avocado, so I don't think there's anything you can do. No, you probably have someone who is out there, is in a a better position to do this kind of farming. So be there. As I'm helping you, you can also help others out there. Tunashikiliana mkono, tunapanda sisi wote, au sio? So the other thing now you need to follow, you have already known what kind of environment you need to be, the ecological requirements. Now you need to come to the practical part of it before we get to the benefits of Haas avocado farming. Let's wind up on some of these steps you need to follow. Now you've already understood the ecological requirements. Now let's get in to the growing part of it. As I said, it's very similar to any other crop that you grow out there. So you ensure there are windbreakers to prevent the strong winds. These are very, very small trees. They need to be prevented or protected from the strong winds that you you may experience in your land. And from there, we talked about now planting the holes that are very important. That's supposed to be in a straight line, and that are supposed to easen the crop husbandry and harvesting. And the pattern you're supposed to use is rectangular. And at the same time, this pattern will ensure that when you're doing your pruning and thinning, everything is very easy for you. Thirdly, we have talked about the planting now, the practicality of the planting. We've talked about these plants now. You're supposed to time exactly when the rains have started. That's the best time because the water has already penetrated into the soil. And as you're doing that, be very careful not to damage the roots while filling up the holes. And when you're at it now, because you're just starting, it's just the starting process, make sure it's highly discouraged to actually irrigate before 1 year, as you've said. So wait for 12 months. From there now, let this 1 year, the water that has penetrated into the soil, do its work. So after 12 months, now you can get to your farm and start irrigating the trees just kidogo kidogo. The other step that is very important, and the fourth step, is pruning. Now this is where this is the point where the roots are too long at the planting stage. This is the planting stage where the roots are too long. You need to do some pruning, and it's beneficial to the trees because it will enable them to yield and provide a superior structure as they are growing, because they are growing now above the ground. They are now becoming so big in a very fast way. And so as you're doing the pruning, remember to do the thing. And this is the removing of some of the already formed fruits to reduce competition of the nutrients. Kama zimekuwa sawa, toa as soon as possible, because now they are bigger than the others. Now they're actually competing for the nutrients, and Waswahili wanasema ukishindana na ndovu kunya utafanya nini? Utapasuka msamba. So this one is big, the other one is small. So the bigger one will be will be getting more nutrients, and now the small ones that are upcoming now will not get high quality, or will not be of high quality, will actually be very small because they are lacking the nutrients. And the other one now will be big, so we'll be having a very imbalanced kind of produce when it comes to the end of it all. So when you're doing this, remember to control the weeds, because if you don't control them, then at the end of it all, you'll not be getting the produce that you're actually looking forward to. So remember to control the weeds. Remember also, the best prevention, or the best way to control pests and diseases, is pest prevention. So get to understand what kind of pesticides you need. And you have talked about the flying moth, the scale insects, and thrips. Those are some of the pesticides that you need for you to prevent these pests around your farm and around your trees. So when you followed all that, the process now of how to actually come up with this produce, the Haas avocado farm, or just doing the Haas avocado farming. Now let's get to the benefits of why you should do it. One, we talked about when yesterday we talked about the steps of the steps of following and how to come up with agribusiness. The steps on what to follow when thinking of what agribusiness you need to come up with. So some of the benefits before we take another short break. One, this has avocados that we have, or the avocados that you'll be getting, they are high in protein and mineral content compared to animal protein. So you can get very high protein in the avocados that you have planted compared to the protein that you get from other animal products. So that's one benefit that you'll be getting. Probably you are not, you are not in a position, especially in the economy that we are in, you're not in a position to get to get the proteins, animal proteins every day. As we said yesterday, we have families who take skuma wiki, or vegetables every single day. Hakuna nyama inanukia kwa hiyo nyumba. So now if you're in that position, you can have now ugali, skuma, and your avocado. So ile nyama unateta, because tunataka nyama juu ya protein. You can get high, actually very high quality of protein in a Haas avocado than what you'll probably get in animal protein. Two, it's a very essential source of good cholesterol. A little bit of cholesterol is good for your health. So this is what you'll actually benefit when you do this farming, probably for local use, and also for those who consume this kind of avocado. Remember that you're actually getting some good source of cholesterol. Thirdly, it's a good source of income, especially for those who uprooted the cash crops. Probably it was not bringing the income that you will deserve. We'll be talking about the costs and the current market, how it looks like right now, and you realize that this growing of Haas avocado is good source of income. Fourthly, it's a permanent investment, so it needs proper planning before investing. I know that's a benefit, because now, as we said, you followed yesterday's steps of how to you've done your research, you've done everything, you know what market you're targeting, and now you've done your proper planning, you have your creative business plan. So everything is set, you follow the process of how to do it, then that will become a business, a permanent investment. You wouldn't need another source of income, probably, because as I said last week, right now we're at a position whereby more than one source of income in this economy is not just, it's not just a lucrative thing, it's a necessity. It's not like 5 years, 10 years ago, where having more than one source of income was something lucrative, something luxurious. Right now, it's a necessity, just having more than one income. But when you have permanent, when you followed all the steps that need to be followed when it comes to Haas avocado farming, this becomes your permanent uh, investment, and you're good to go because you have done your proper planning even before investing. So when you come back after the break, I'll be having some of you who have shared the experience when it comes to Haas avocado farming. So keep commenting, keep telling us what are some of your experiences. Maybe you're a first timer. When you did it for the first time, you failed terribly, or probably you want to venture into this, or maybe you have a story from a friend of yours, a fellow farmer who tried this and they failed, or maybe they excelled. So all that when you come back after this short break.
One of the sectors that we have recently gone into is fruit seedlings. This is avocado. These are seeds that we grow. The avocado seedling from seed, and then when it's a little bigger, after 2 months, we'll graft it, and now we'll sell you a grafted avocado. So what you can see here is just avocado seeds, and a bit of them have started shooting. The other planted seedling that we do is oranges. You can see this orange is about 2.5 years old, and you can see already the fruits are there. And it's a variety that is called Washington Navel. It grows this height. We've put it in a bag because we move around when we go to shows, but otherwise this is a plant that you can grow in your own garden, and it will give you oranges all year round.
As we quickly progress from agriculture to agribusiness, market is key. Join us every Wednesday as we bring to you Market Watch, a show that covers candid discussions regarding the state of the market. Tune in and let's turn our farms into businesses.
Eggplant is an elongated shaped and dark purple fruit. and its leaves are large, ovate, and slightly lobed. Eggplant is a perennial crop but grown commercially as annual. Eggplant grows best in well-drained sandy loam, or the soil pH should be between 5.8 and 6.5 for best growth. Eggplant requires a regular watering and steadily warm growing conditions. Eggplant is a popular versatile vegetable that is glossy and purple in color. When it's cut, you will find a meaty white flesh dotted with small clusters of beige seeds. The unripe fruit is consumed as a cooked vegetable. Eggplant is a multitasker that can take on different and delicious forms. Eggplants are a great source of vitamins and minerals.
And welcome back to A Farmers, right here, where we are always about one thing only, telling the story of the African farmer. And you are with me, Conrad Kibe. I have been with you from 3 p.m. And right now, as currently I can see, it's 23 minutes past 4 p.m. right here on the Drive Show. And definitely, I know you're tuned in and you're streaming live via social media. That is Facebook at A Farmers. With a Z at the end, and definitely on YouTube at A Farmers Media. And just straight to some of your comments right here. I can see Stanley Osawa, who had asked about, I think he joined at the middle of our conversation today, and he asked why are they called Haas avocados. And just to take you back a little bit, we are talking about the origin of Haas avocado, and we talked about Rudolf Haas, who uh, grafted some of the variety roots that can be dated way back to 1924. And Haas avocado was part of the some of the stock that was grafted in 1924, and he was there to oversee for around 76 years. And it's because of him we right now have more, or approximately 10 million Haas avocado trees. So that is why it's called the Haas avocado. I know we have the other regular avocado, but this Haas can be accredited to Rudolf Haas, who grafted the variety of roots stock and Haas avocado was part of of the varieties that was grafted in 1924. So that's part of the original, or that's where the origination of this name comes from. And also, you are talking about Haas avocado growing very fast with nice produce. I know, Stanley, you're talking about from experience. Probably you could share a bit why, how your first experience was. Not just the nice, was it just nice in terms of uh, the bigger yields, or maybe it was nice because it was profitable. You got some, maybe a bigger, not just bigger its size in terms of the fruit, or maybe a bigger size in terms of the money that you got from your yields. You can be sharing with that with us. We shall be reading some of your comments as we go on. Now to something very interesting. Right now we at kipindi of Lala Salama. Tuko katika kipindi cha Lala Salama, our last link before we close up the show. And I shall introduce to you a new segment that shall be running right here on the Drive Show every single day from Monday to Friday, probably during this period of kipindi cha Lala Salama, and that is the pan of the day. And if my director would project that on the screen to get our first pan of the day today. Yes, and our first pan of the day, as you've seen on the screen, is we do not have any vegetable jokes yet. So if you do, let us know. So if you have a high sense of humor, you'll probably understand what that means. So these pans will be getting them every single day during our Kipindi Chalala Salama, and all our pans will be agriculture related, farm related, animal related. So just keep it here. We'll be giving you more interesting pans every Monday to Friday. So always be tuned in to be usikuwa unapitwa na pan of the day every single day right here on the Drive Show. So as we wind up conversations today, we talked about the benefits of growing Hass avocado. We talked about the process of or some of the requirements, that is ecological requirements, and all these requirements that you need to have so that you can have a good yield at the end of the day. So let's talk about the current the current market, how it looks like today. And just to start, before the market was actually regulated, farmers sold one avocado as low as 1 shilling. You can understand now. You've done all that, and now you go to the farm and sell your avocado as low as 1 shilling. And right now probably it's selling from 8 shillings to maybe the highest, when the the market is on demand. The highest you can have is 30 shillings or 35 shillings. It depends on the location that you are in. And last year, the county governor of Muranga, that is Mwagi Wairia, announced that Muranga as a county alone actually acquired 500 billion Kenya shillings from avocado, or from Haas avocado farming. Just 500 million shillings. And this was higher than what Muranga is known for, that is coffee. So just to give you a history of why this happened, uh, probably in the last 5 4 years, the people from Nyeri, Embu, Meru, Muranga, Kirinyaga have been clearly clearing their cash crops to accommodate Hass avocado. And I can tell you for a fact, I come from around that region, and people cleared coffee, people cleared tea just to accommodate Hass avocado, because they looked at the the produce or the yield that you're getting from, or actually the profit that you're getting from coffee, tea, and what they can get from Hass farming. And when they realize, you know what, when you do Hass farming, we are getting so much money. So let's do away with coffee, tunanyanyaswa, and everything that they said regarding what they had, the cash crops they had grown. They said they will do away with it. I have an example of a young man who actually had 14 acres of land with coffee. And when he went back to his house, did his maths, and realized, in this 14 acres piece of land, I can do Haas avocado farming and do away with coffee. And so in that 14 acres, a piece of land, he planted close to 3,000 trees of Haas avocado. And his output at the end of the first harvest was more than 200,000. This is something that he was not getting from the coffee he had. And right now he's thinking of doing more than 20,000 trees in that smaller land that he has. So probably for him now, if he does proper planning, he will get higher yields, and this will be a permanent investment for him. So if you're out there and you want to start Hass avocado, remember the average, or the average amount of one seedling, or one seed or one tree that for avocado, for for, for, for Hass avocado is actually 150 shillings. So for you to, if you're out there, you really want to do has avocado farming, remember, just one seedling or one tree goes for 150 shillings. And you know who is the best plug for this type of, or this seedling? It's just here at A Farmers. We can do that for you. So it's very, very easy. We'll we shall give you we shall give you the number that you're supposed to call, so that we can hook you up with some of the best, because remember, A Farmers, we give you the best quality if it comes to any seedling, and that is in line with any Hass avocado seedling that we have. Will give you the best quality. So just in a bit, I'll be giving you the number that you'll call for you to get the best seedling. And remember, just goes for probably 150. That is what is set, but najua tuwezi kosana tukiwa hapa, so we'll be giving you that details, but in a few. So let's go to some of the counties in Kenya that you can get this that are best or favorable to grow the Hass avocados. One, let's start with what is around us. That is the eastern region of Kenya, including Kangudo, Mua Hills, and Boni. All that you can see, it's around Machakos. And if you do your research well, we talked about the rains that we receive around this, the favorable places where you can get these rains. You can see. But remember, we talked about getting bigger sizes of the fruits when you're in a cool place rather than the warm place. But that doesn't mean you can't get your Hass avocado if you're in Eastern. Remember, that's a bit of warm places, because you're talking about Machakos County. So probably you might not get the big size in terms of sizes, the big fruits, but you'll get high quality fruits. Also, we are talking about Central Rift Valley. We're also talking about Lower Nyanza. Those are good areas in this country that you can get Hass. You can get Hass avocados. We're also talking about Embu. We're also talking about Meru and all those places in the highlands. Talking about Muranga, we're talking about Nyeri, all those places. And just to note that Western, it's almost close to all of it. Anywhere in Western, if you're in Western right now and you're watching us from Western, remember, anywhere in Western, you can do this farm. And also anywhere in cool places, we are talking about the Central Rift Valley, talking about Embu, Meru, and all those places, you can also start the Hass farming. Also for those around Eastern region, we're talking about Machakos County. Anywhere around Machakos County, you can start the Hass avocado farming. Okay, so when you're also talking about what is required, I forgot to mention it requires soil with good drainage. If you don't have good drainage, because the water needs to penetrate into the soil, so this soil has to be of good drainage. And you are recommended not to use fertilizers until it's 1 year old. So remember, when it's less than 1 year old, don't do irrigation and don't use fertilizers. You're okay with that? All right. So remember, part of the ecological requirements and all other requirements, including planting holes, planting of the seedlings, pruning, thinning, and weed control. All those requirements, remember to highlight this, that it requires soil with good drainage, because when you're planting the seedlings in these holes, the water, because we are targeting when the rains have started, the water is able to penetrate into the soil, and for you, you will get high yields. So remember that. And also, you don't need to use fertilizers within a period of 1 year. And also, at the same time, you don't need to irrigate this you don't also need to you don't need to irrigate the produce or the trees. You don't actually need to irrigate within 1 year, because the water has already penetrated. And at the same time, you don't need to use fertilizers in less than 12 months. And one thing to note is that one proper watered tree can give you around close to 1,000 fruits, and that's an average of 8,000. You know, when you're talking about the average price in the market. So you have one tree can give you close to 1,000 fruits in one harvest. So if you sell at an average of 8 shillings per fruit, you're talking about close to 8,000 Kenya shillings. And for you who is into exportation, maybe you've already been given the license, you've already been given the go ahead to do planting that your target now is globally. You you're targeting the likes of China, you're targeting the likes of Japan and all other countries across Europe and America. Now listen to how the fruit is packed. The fruit is packed in boxes of 4 kilos, and each containing about 10 fruits. All right. So if so we are talking about the fruits being packed in a boxes of 4 kilos, each containing about 10 fruits. So if it's sold for if one fruit is sold for $10, all right, and you are selling one box and one carton, you have talked about 4 kilos having 10 fruits. But one fruit or one that each carton goes for probably around we are talking about $10. That one carton that has 10 fruits in is going for $10. If you do your maths right, we're talking about close to 1,100 Kenya shillings. So that's the packaging, or that's the pricing that you get when you do your exports. So if you have 10 fruits that are packed in one carton, and now we are talking about when you water and you do everything right, one tree will give you 1,000 fruits. Then you do your maths. Do your math. The profits that you get from the good yields and from just following the simple instructions will be good for you. I remember when I was around second year, there was this lady who had come for exchange program, and she was from South Korea. And so one day she was having lunch, and she just took a snap, from Snapchat, and she sent to her friends in South Korea, and they were shocked to see that they realized this lady uh, has avocado in every of her meals, whether it's lunchtime or supper time. And so every time they always wanted that was a flex for her. Leo anakula sapa, tuseme probably anakula githeri. Kila time akichukua snap, kuna nini hapo ndani? Kuna avocado. Anachukua leo, anachukua saa hii, anachukua jioni, the whole week, every single day. And so her friends back at home were very shocked to see that she's affording avocado every day, na wakaona huyu ni dem ameomoka sana, because she came to tell us that in South Korea, one probably when you're doing your shopping, you can almost shop for several just to get maybe an avocado, to actually afford an avocado every meal. You'll part with around 8,000 Kenya shillings. So when she did her math, she told us probably now they think I use 8,000 probably in 2 days, 3 days. That's why wanadhani uko nyumbani nimeomoka. So you see, when you do you harvesting very very well, you have targeted the global, your target is global. The pricing abroad is not compared to what we have locally. We are talking about an average of 8 shillings uh, for one fruit locally, not just locally. We are talking about nationally. Anywhere you go around the country or across the country, it's the highest you'll find um, an avocado being sold probably is around 35 Kenya shillings. Hapo ni mali umegongwa zaidi, na maybe market demand iko juu, lakini and all that. But you're talking about now the pricing of international market, talking about um, $10 for one carton that has, we are talking about now $1 for one fruit, talking from 100 to 110 shillings for just one fruit. That's the price in international. So you see, this is the current market that you're having right now, and it's very lucrative. Everyone is getting into Haas avocado. But as I've always told you, how intentional are you when you're getting to this kind of agribusiness? Why are you getting into it? Are you just getting into it because you've heard it's very, very lucrative, you want to do it more, but you are not following the guidelines? You're not getting the yields that you would expect. And remember, expectations actually really kill, because you've done your creative plan, you have your business plan. At the end at the end of this year, I'll be getting close to 700,000 from this avocado. But you're so excited that you don't put your work into it. And so when it comes to the end of the year, you're not even close to that 700,000 you're talking about. So as you expect such yields at the end of the day, or at the end of the season, make sure that everything you have, everything that you're talking about, or probably you're doing, is in line with whatever is supposed to be done. We are talking about right now, we are talking about the ecological requirements. Have you followed the ecological requirements that are supposed to be there? Have you planted your holes in a straight line? Have you used the rectangular pattern? Have you planted your seedlings in the holes during the rainy season? Have you used fertilizer within less than 12 months? All these things, have you pruned? Have you done the thinning? So at the end, for you to get high yields, for you to get yields that are being bought outside the country, you must be in a position to have followed all these steps. They are very, very necessary. Very, very necessary. So as we wind up, these are some of the things we need to realize. These are some of the things we need to realize. So when you come back after the break, it's all about the difference between regular and the regular avocado and also the Haas avocado. We take a short break. We'll be right back.
Farmers is the home of Africa Farmers Club, and by extension, African farmers. The whole idea behind Farmers is to transform the image of an African farmer from a producer into an agripreneur, somebody who actually does not think about how to produce onions, but how much is going to be used to produce onions, and so that way then they can be able to transform their vision, they can be able to look at their farms as businesses, and they can be able to know when to engage with the market. What we have done is that we have developed a hub where farmers bring their information, bring their questions, their challenges, and other farmers are there to come out and help. Facebook has not just been instrumental, Facebook has been a working partner for myself as well. And Facebook has actually transformed the way we relate, an open platform. My background is in tech, and I know you cannot build a platform that can reach out to so many people. Initially, it was just a few farmers in 2 counties, Machakos County and Kajiado counties, but now it has transformed. We have a stronger membership from Nigeria and Zambia than even Kenya itself, And the reason behind this is the messages I get from different farmers across Africa. Then something interesting came to my mind, and I thought about using the camera. Every time I visited farmers, I would be able to post in the community, in the group, in my own profile, and just share the story of the farmer that I visited. And then I asked myself, why wouldn't I get this information, develop it in a way that other people can be able to benefit? If we go for a training, how do we capture that so that those who are not, the farmers who are not able to come for that training can still benefit? And hence the birth of Farmers Media. Our mission as an organization is to help farmers, African farmers, to attain knowledge and grow profits.
And welcome back to A Farmers Media, right here with me, Conrad Kibe. This is the Drive Show where we are always about one thing only, telling the stories or the story of the African farmer. And as we are winding up on the Haas avocado farming, let's talk about very quickly the difference between the regular and the Haas avocado. The regular one, larger in size definitely, and the Haas one is a bit smaller than the regular one. The regular one is smooth skinned, and the Haas one is pebbly skinned, and for the Haas it's dark purple while ripe, but the other one, the color, it's very green. And for in terms of fat, the regular one contains 3 grams of fat, and the Haas one contains 4.6 grams of fat. So that's what you need to know, the difference. So if you're wondering what's the difference between the regular and the Haas, now you know. It's all about the size, how the texture of the skin, and also what grams are included when it comes to the fat. So as we wind up, watu ambao wanatumia PSV, watu ambao wako kwa gari zao, let me just give you very fast quickly the updates on the roads, na watu ambao wanatumia Cabanas, Imara Daima, watu wako Mombasa Road pale nakwambia ni parking lot. So kama uko na kitu ya kufanya, fanya tu kwa gari. Kama uko kwa PSV, unaweza kuwa na to watch live and just be interested, because you'll be there for a very long time. Na watu ambao wanatumia Embakasi karibu na airport, pale ni bumper to bumper, ni kunoma, pale pia ni parking lot. And also watu ambao wanatumia Wilson Airport karibu na Nairobi West Estate, pia pale ni parking lot. I don't understand, it's very ironical, kuna a lot of traffic karibu na airport, gari na, anyway, I don't, maybe sielewi hizo maneno, but watu wa Southern Bypass pale unakimbia mbio kama baiskeli ya kuibiwa. Pale ni kutoka Teketeke hadi karibu na Carnival, hapo ndio maneno inakuwa hainyoki vizuri. But pia watu wa Lang'ata Road, you okay to go. Watu wa kupanda University Way na Expressway, pia pale unajua you are the next, you and Mombasa Road mnakuanga ma twins kidogo. So as you do that, just know to take care of yourself in the roads. Make sure you wear your mask, sanitize, because especially watu wa Mombasa Road, Cabanas pale, watu wa University Way wanapita wakienda Westlands, muko kwa PSV for a very long time. So maintain your social distance, wear your mask, tumia sanitizer ukifunga na kufungua dirisha, and everything you do. But I wish you all the best. Take care of yourselves kwa barabara na mambo itakuwa shwari. So thank you so much for being part of this conversation, and as always, that's why I'm telling you, take care of yourself, because tomorrow Grace Modoni will be needing you in the morning when she does the breakfast show tomorrow, and she'll be having a very interesting topic. So keep it locked at 8, and definitely Noah will be coming at around 11:30 with the mid-morning show. Alafu sisi tutakutana at 3 p.m. So until tomorrow, tukutane kesho, Mungu akisema ndio, au sio? Thank you so much.